Hello, welcome back and welcome in. My name is Nikki Wheeler. If you're interested in gaming, go subscribe to my other channel and follow my Twitch to see my gaming live. Now, let's start this video. Today, I'll be discussing Justin Bieber. We all know him and have probably liked one of his songs at some point, whether you were a believer from as early as 2009 or as late as his most recent album in 2021. He was and still is a hit maker and one of the very few child stars of the late 2000s to still be relevant and doing the same thing they originally started doing. This video will delve into Justin as an artist, his career and discography, and why his radio appeal has never dwindled in his decade-and-a-half long career. First, we start with his debut album, My World 2.0, which is the follow-up to his debut EP, My World. This album was very loving from the get-go, and some of my favorites included Somebody to Love, You Smile, and Up. What I liked most about Somebody to Love was the overall yearning feeling while still being a dance pop song. It has some electronic pulls and it flows nicely with the higher pitched voice that he had. The bridge is probably one of my favorite sections, as always, because it says that he may have material means to provide for his love interest with anything she wants, but what he truly desires is love and companionship, which has a lot of sentiment behind it. I also want to mention the visual behind this song as well with the music video. I always love going down rabbit holes of watching music videos for 2 to 3 hours at a time, and coming across some of the OG Justin Bieber was so fun. The choreography and lighting was really good and amazing to watch again. You Smile was a slow love ballad about how seeing his significant other happy made him happy. The third verse was also well written, seeing his love is depicted as unconditional and limitless. He asserts that he won't hesitate to give even more in the future, expressing his unwavering commitment. A credited writer on this track was August Rigo, who also wrote for Kehlani and NCT Dream, both of which have incredible writing in their music, and there is no difference here. The song is heavily piano-driven, and it feels like one of the strongest songs on this record for that reason. It hits a nice nostalgic point, as it is somewhat reminiscent of Boyz II Men, as they were definitely a heavy inspiration for Justin Bieber at this point. The final song that I wanted to talk about on this album was Up. This song also had phenomenal writers on it, including Bieber himself and Nasri, the lead singer from Magic. The overall theme of the song was staying positive and seeing the only way was up in a relationship. It was an earnest and passionate track that carried itself with so much confidence. It was another slow-tempoed song, as Nasri is known for writing, and it was good-natured like Justin Bieber's image always had been. It helped bring in the last little bit of love and care from the debut EP and wrapped it in a bow. Now, after this release, he did make a Christmas album, which acted as a second studio album, but I personally don't count them towards the rankings or my commentaries, so we would be moving straight into his third studio album titled Believe. This was one of the first steps of becoming a more mature artist in Bieber's career, as his voice had obviously matured even in just the 2-year span these albums had been between them. He was freshly 18 and had the world at his fingertips. He proved that he wasn't an innocent kid anymore with the first song, Boyfriend. He got a new haircut and released the music video for the song, which shows him driving expensive cars and dancing with pretty girls in a way he hadn't done before. This was also his way of entering a new genre, really putting his inspirations to the test and going into the R&B aspects. The music was sonically one of the best of his career, being extremely smooth and polished, keeping a low bar throughout to match the chorus of the song. As he finishes the first verse of the song, he jumps into the pre-chorus immediately with a high note that is like butter. It was amazing and set the rest of the song up for excitement. The second song I liked was As Long As You Love Me. The lyrics suggested that the singer will stay with their lover no matter what and show them the strength and support needed to help their dreams come true. The singer promises that their love will be unconditional and stronger than anything else, providing a rock-solid foundation for this relationship. The song features Big Sean, who is more known for his explicit raps and was questioned at the time of the release. His addition to the record was met with pleasantries, and it suited the record much more than anticipated. Again, with his addition to the record along with some other features including Nicki Minaj, Ludacris, and Drake, it added to that maturity and trying to move away from the teen pop he had his name on. Obviously, there was still some grace to it, still writing about his love, but it grew into a longevity contest. This song in particular was a synth pop and dubstep song, along with the R&B and pop fusion he had done before on this record. Dubstep was huge at this point in time, with Skrillex and Zedd making noise in the EDM world, and Bieber just added on to it. It didn't necessarily make the record worse or better, but it was a transition that was strange considering he led off with Boyfriend, but it helped the popularity aspect and brought more attention to him and his new look. Now that brings me to the last song from this record I wanted to mention, which was Die in Your Arms. It goes back in the R&B genre, and the song samples Michael Jackson's We've Got a Good Thing, and lyrically features Bieber singing about an all-consuming passion and the affection that he feels for his love interest. There was a lot of poise throughout this record, and I think lyrically, Bieber seems to enter Chris Brown territory, at least lightly. He stays PG, flattering and flirting, or stating devotion throughout the majority of the songs. Believe has and had enough strong material to keep most of his fanbase satisfied for a few years. That was until 2015, when he released his next album, Purpose. Bieber had entered his 20s and had shown no real signs of stopping his grind with this 50-minute long record, of which my favorites were Love Yourself, No Pressure, and the title track, Purpose. In Love Yourself, the lyrics address a former relationship gone wrong and how the person is better off by themselves and needs to learn to love themselves, despite what the other person thinks. Bieber encourages the listener to take responsibility for themselves and practice self-care. It was a soft and probably the least electric song on the record. I would consider this a soul song on account of a small flurry of trumpets, and the rhythm seems to be the main focus in the actual music. While it isn't necessarily a confident track, it is a telling one, being a response to someone's confidence, which I did like. The second song I liked was No Pressure. It's a song about slowing down, and on this track, Justin croons over an acoustic guitar loop, accompanied by a heavy kick drum, droning bass, and robotic stabs. I would also call this song somewhat soulful, with dark R&B as the overall and main genre. It has the melodic hits that are similar to a harpsichord, and it has an overall feel-good vibe, especially alongside the dance video. What made it even better was the actual writing. It seemed familiar and conscious, like he had planned this to a T. The last song off of Purpose I needed to bring up was the title track. It is a heartfelt expression of gratitude to a higher power who has given the singer a sense of purpose in life. That is essentially the whole album. The first verse describes an emotional state of feeling like his life is coming to an end and all the tears and promises he had made in his life. It is easily one of the best parts of the song, as he isn't trying too hard with the lyrics and he isn't pushing his vocals either. The quiet ballad is a way to dismiss all scrutiny he had received in his career and appreciate what he does have. Out of all the 3 songs I picked on this record, I think it probably had the weakest bridge because it's the same line 2 times, but it is still nice to hear because his vocals were strong and it was a good break from the rest of the song. With that, I will move into his next album, Changes, released in 2020 after a 5-year hiatus in which he said he wanted to focus on himself because he had spent almost all of his teen years and early 20s on tour. Respectable and for sure needed. He did indeed swing back into things hard with this album too, creating even more hits, including my favorites Habitual, Take It Out on Me, and Changes. Habitual explores the depth and longevity of a romantic relationship. The lyrics convey a sense of comfort, trust, and stability between the two people. In the second verse, Bieber reflects on the journey that they have taken as a couple. They have worked through different seasons of life and only found each other when they were meant to. Looking ahead, they see their relationship from a new perspective, indicating growth and a positive outlook for the future. This track feels so much closer and personal than any of his past work has, obviously being about his wife Hailey. It is a sweet anthem of love that everyone wanted and needed from Justin at the time, being brought down into a pandemic at its release. One key thing to this song, besides the true intention behind it, was the melody. It is smooth and trickles a heavy bass throughout. The next song, Take It Out on Me, is obviously, by the title, a song about being supportive and understanding presence for someone who is going through a difficult time. The lyrics depict the singer offering himself as a source of solace and an outlet for their emotional release. I specifically love the lyric quality in the track. In the second verse, Bieber emphasizes his reliability, referring to himself as their plug, who can provide them with whatever they need. He offers to help recharge their energy when they feel drained. Like I've said before, the sense of maturity throughout his work has been immeasurable. If you listen to something from Believed and immediately listening to something from Changes, the complete shift is insane. Granted, yes, he's now like 25 at this point and fully grown. It's still nice seeing that change happen in real time, especially when their music has had such an impact on how you grew up. The final song from Changes I wanted to talk about was the title track, Once Again. In the pre-chorus, Bieber states that he wants to be the best version of himself, even if it means he and others may disagree at times. This can be interpreted as him recognizing that people have differing perspectives on what the best version of himself looks like, but he ultimately is committed to improving for the benefit of himself. Then you go into the bridge, which includes the lyrics, "People change, circumstances change, but God always remains the same," which could be interpreted as a nod to Bieber's faith and trust in higher power amidst the inevitable changes and uncertainties in life. This track was a little on the nose and very introspective, even for me, but it has an amazing and catchy beat that has yet to leave my brain. Finally, we have his most recent album titled Justice, released the following year in 2021. Die For You was the first song I wanted to talk about from this record because, for one, it is a phenomenal song and it is really well written, but it is also how I found out about Dominic Fike. In the song, it is alluding that despite the ups and downs of the relationship, the singer is willing to do anything for their lover, even risking their life by walking through burning fire. The lyrics that Dominic added in his verse also hint at the idea that the singer's partner is a dangerous person, but they are willing to take the risk for them. The song is a pop record with some disco or synth infusions, and really nails it as it hits with a powerful production. Again, moving into new territory, trying to find out new production styles with Andrew Watt and Benny Blanco. His voice just served as one of the few things I liked about the song, and the feature just really brought it to the top. The next song I liked was Ghost. The track delves into themes of longing, loss, and the emotional turmoil of missing someone deeply. The song expresses a profound sense of yearning for past love, whether that be a family member or a significant other, and the inability to move on from the memories left behind. The second verse further emphasizes the futility of clinging to the hope of a reunion using the lyrics, "I need more time, but time can't be borrowed," and the willingness to leave everything behind to be with the person even though it's an impossibility. The usage of ghost as a metaphor symbolizes the lingering presence of the person who's no longer there physically, but whose memory haunts the speaker. It's a bittersweet ballad that left me in tears the first time I listened to it. It again uses the up-tempo beat alongside a synth-pop instrumental to add to the effect of the grimace words. The last song I wanted to talk about was Lonely. It was the closing track of the album, and I think it was one of the best closers I've seen, especially for a Justin Bieber record. The song goes into the side of fame that isn't seen, or the bad repercussions of it. The first verse explores the idea of feeling disconnected from oneself, where fame has made the individual unrecognizable to themselves. There was also little production on the song to establish that isolated and lonely feeling the whole song was about, again adding to that reliability of his vocal strength. I also would love to talk about Justin's vocals on this one. The post-chorus was immensely and insanely impressive. His notes were met, and it was a beautiful record all around. The entirety of this album was a mash of a few things, but bad is not one of them. It introduced a slew of production value and high-quality rhythms that continued Justin's popularity. It's distinguished by a variety of pop modes that include vaporous synth rock, strumming acoustic ballads, hip-hop gospel, bedroom EDM, sun-dazed R&B, and contemporary Afrobeat, each one with astutely selected producers and featured artists. Now, I wanted to move into the rankings of the album. This will be on a best to worst scale, taking lyrical content, music composition, and vocal capabilities into account. At number 1, I had Changes. Number 2 is Purpose. Number 3 is Justice. Number 4 is My World 2.0. And finally, number 5 is Believe. What Justin Bieber did with his career and the moves he made throughout the years are what made him so likable. Musically, that is. He made the shift between teen pop and R&B pop fusion gracefully from his debut to Believe and Believe to Purpose. There was a sense of lyrical maturity within Purpose that I believe made his hits during that era seem much more of age and developed. He had been a child star, and going through something so harsh like the music industry at a young age makes you grow up and make decisions a kid or teen shouldn't even have to deal with. He knew that his music had to grow up with him and his style. This shift also continued into his albums Changes and Justice, as he was going through many public changes of his personal life that he wanted to voice in some way. The actual music went from more upbeat love songs to slow-tempoed pop with R&B fusions about other areas of life. As consumers, we grow up with certain music in our lives, and I can confidently say most of us born in the late 90s and early 2000s grew up with Justin Bieber, even if you didn't necessarily like his music. He grew up with us, and I think he handled the shift within his career carefully and dropped the child star picture perfectly. With that, I will leave that video right there. If you liked it, give it a thumbs up and comment who I should cover next. Until next time, Bye, guys.